Highland Community Waste Partnership has been a 3-year project with 8 different partners across the Highlands, from Thurso in the north down to Fort William. We've all been reducing waste in our communities in different ways, from food waste and composting advice to reducing single-use packaging, sharing and repairing items. So they're the 3 main themes of the project.
I have a friend living in Glasgow who does sewing workshops, and she's not even been trained, but I've been always so inspired that she still does it. And I thought, I love sewing and I would want to give sewing workshops myself, and I got in contact with the Selkie Collective, who said that the Highland Community Waste Partnership could actually fund me, so that was brilliant. So I love sewing so much because you can recycle and reuse all the fabrics that you have. You can craft something that is just your own. You can't find that anywhere. And yeah, it's just a beautiful handcraft that I think has gotten a bit lost. And I feel, especially up here in the Highlands, where we also have those dark winter months, it's nice to create something with the hands and yeah, recycle and reuse what we have.
We don't have single-use plastics, so our soft drinks are all in glass bottles because that is allegedly easier to recycle. Our takeaways are done in cardboard, which at the moment is a compostable cardboard. But we have introduced a wee charge on that to encourage and educate, because that's an important part of what we do, customers. And we have seen an uptick in people bringing in, a lot of people bringing in their own mugs, for example, for drinks. We do have a few who will bring in their own Tupperware containers for their sandwich or their cake, which is good to see. So we try and have that chat about why we're charging them a little bit extra for a takeaway container. Cardboard waste was a huge issue for us. We had increased the amount of recycling uplifts, we just weren't keeping up with it. Our shed at the back was filling up with cardboard. So as a result of the partnership, we've got a cardboard shredding machine, which means that the cardboard is immediately easier to store, ready for putting into the recycle bin, but also it makes it into a sort of a weave type material, which is an amazing fire lighter. So we have a stove here, which on colder days we light, but we also have a fire at home. And also we're saying to staff and friends, you know, if you want this stuff, it's really good as a fire lighter. So it's getting a second life out of it in terms of that, but makes it easier to handle. And also we hope to get to the point where we can say to other local businesses, you know, if you want to come and use the machine and collapse some of your cardboard, then that's a use of it. So it's more of a community thing than just the coffee bothy.
It feeds itself, really.
Our Highland Community Waste Partnership had noticed that there was a lot of cardboard in abundance in the village, from juicings to here to the campsite. So they managed to get, with funding, a cardboard shredder. And we've realised the way the cardboard shreds, it's not just it's such a good mulch, it's such a good compost, and it can also be used as packaging. It makes you feel like a bigger sense of community with us all doing that, instead of having all these things. Do they go to the right recycling places when it comes from Skye? I don't know. And a lot of the cardboard I see just gets soaking wet here anyway before it gets taken away. At least we can get it here, keep it dry, get it used again, instead of, as you say, landfill.
Say to everyone over there what's going to happen. You've got to make sure the rubbish gets into your hole in the ground. And the way it's going to get there is, of course, trucks. You have to take all the rubbish from Skye and Couch and get it over to you to put in a hole in the ground. Right, trucks. Now, the best thing we can do is not to run too many trucks, because the more trucks we run, the more diesel we burn. We felt that it was very important to support the school community. So many schools work towards a green flag scheme. If they don't, they're on board with reducing their waste, with recycling and reusing. It's an important message to get through to the next generation who are ready and willing to hear it. So that was part of the reason to do it. So we reached out to schools and we talked about what we could do. And the best way of doing it is to play. As you can see from everything that's happening, the children are having fun and they're engaged and they're lurking in vital messages about how to recycle. But not only that, how waste is generated, why waste is generated, what happens to it, about the climate challenge, about everything to do with pollution, all just through a few simple games and activities. They learn so much, they problem solve, and they actually get a feel for what it really means to reduce, reuse, recycle and repair. And the feedback we get from the children and the teachers is amazing. They're totally on board with it and they just want more.
So it started last year. There'd never been an apple event or any kind of celebration here of fruit. There's not much of a culture of fruit here on the West Coast, yet what we've proven in sheltered locations is that fruit does really, really well here. It's a perfect growing conditions for all sorts of fruit. So let's celebrate that. Let's highlight what can be done with a caveat of just a little bit of shelter, because we're obviously a very windy environment, quite acidic environment, challenging, high rainfall, but it's good growing conditions when you get it right. And I think today on the list I can look over and see good 45, 50 varieties of apple that are grown in this local area alone. The apple display again is kind of got 60 on there. We know there's pears, medlars, quince, all these kind of things which people do not associate with up this far north or this far west. All does absolutely really well, so let's celebrate that and let's create a fruit culture for the area. This year the Highland Community Waste Partnership funded the whole event, which was fantastic, and they were able to get kind of artists in, we're able to kind of get poets in, make it a really celebratory event, very family friendly. This year again they're supplying the art for that, which I'm really grateful, and the Highlands Islands Climate Hub has been assistance for getting it this year. So it's been an excellent relationship. It links together all the things to do with food, obviously food production, food waste, celebration of local food, which is very, very important. We're at the end of a very long supply chain up here, and if the co-op vans stop coming, we're in a bit of a pickle. And you know, this is a landscape that used to feed and sustain 20, 30,000 people. We need to be thinking a bit more resilient about that, and the Waste Partnership and others are doing some excellent work in highlighting it.
Right, so we opened the green shed in July. We found out that pretty much every guest we had was very surprised that we had. I believe they haven't seen this concept before. Basically how this works, we don't sell anything, we only borrow stuff. We have a range of items like pizza boxes, we have inflatable mattresses, mats, books and games, food containers, barbecues, so pretty much everything. So the way it works, guests just come in here and for £5 they can get pretty much everything they like from the green shed. We charge £5 per booking, not per person. And they have to bring it back when they check in. They don't have to wash anything, or they just have to bring it back.
By talking with the Highland Community Waste Partnership, we had an issue with getting rid of the glass. So we've talked to them, and between the two of us we've decided that there was a market here for a glass crusher, and it just means that getting rid of the glass works 100% a lot better for the campsite. Operation-wise, very easy, much easier than I actually anticipated, and the bottles you can put in at a very fast pace. You don't have to stand and wait, so within a few minutes you can empty a whole bin, and much easier than trying to figure out how to take them down to the waste bank. There's lots of different things you can do with it. We can use it for ground maintenance throughout the campsite, filling in holes maybe in our paths and our roads here. We can also use it for small projects where we're making cement, so we can add it to the concrete. So there's lots of different ways that you can actually reuse it.
ReRoot is an informal group which formed with people who are concerned about the current food system, what it's doing to the climate, what it's doing to pollution, what it's doing to health and various other aspects. And one of the ideas for ReRoot was to have film nights to entertain, to educate and inform people about different aspects of the food system. It's been running for 6 months, and we've been doing them once a month. We have had some which have looked at growing, biodiversity, the good and the bad aspects of agriculture. We've had one on international fish farming. And we're looking at one on plastic tonight, and there's an awful lot of plastic involved in the food system. Usually there's chat before the film, as you can hear at the moment, and then after the film we have a discussion session so that people can feed back on what they've got from the film, anything they agree with or don't agree with, and then the implications for locally, for Skye and Raasay. What does that mean for us? Does it have any implications? And we've had some good discussions.
Okay, well, now on air we've got Janet Ullman from the Highland Community Waste Partnership alongside Broadford and Strath Community Company. She's going to bring us the 3 R's this morning on the Tuesday breakfast show: reduce, recycle and reuse, with some top tips on how we can be more economically and environmentally friendly.
Food waste is a real bugbear of mine, as you will appreciate. You've known me for years, and if I get you in a corner at a buffet or something, I will be moaning about food waste, and I always take anything that's left at these social gatherings home, because you can freeze them, you can just take them home and share them with friends and neighbours. So why has anything got to be wasted at a work buffet? But more than that, food waste at home is a real issue, and about 1/3 of the food that we buy for home is put in the bin. You know, we're wasting that much. And it doesn't have to be. We shouldn't be salving our conscience by going, oh well, we've all got food composters, so that's fine. That's not fine at all. It's actual waste. The amount of carbon that goes into producing our food in the first place, the food miles that goes into producing our food in the first place, the storage, whether that's on freight, in shops, that's an issue as well. The space that's taken up in a fridge and a freezer. If it comes out of the fridge and freezer and then wasted, that is a waste. That is a carbon debt that none of us can afford.
I think there's been loads of interest in it. I mean, people love it. It's fabulous content, particularly for the breakfast show. I can discuss it afterwards. And I think people get a lot from it. It's always very topical. If not, you know, generally it's always very local based. It's always hyper local for here, which is fabulous, really informative. But also there's kind of global issues are brought in as well. So I think it gives an all round message. I think people really enjoy it. And Janet has got so much enthusiasm. It's incredible. I don't know how she does it. She just has this way of making it sound fascinating, yet we all learn so much from it as well. So yeah, we've had some great feedback.
We've really enjoyed our work with the community, Amy, Emma and I, but this is the nature of projects, that they are funded for 3 or 5 years, and you're constantly thinking about the long term. You know, what's going to replace it? Have you left enough of a legacy? Is it practically supported by the community itself to be able to carry on? And this does limit progress. We're constantly chasing funding. It's the same across the whole of the environment sector. I've been working in the environment sector for 30 years now. Not just in terms of waste recycling, repair, reuse, but also in terms of biodiversity. And this is just how it is in these modern times. Yes, would it be great if there was more statutory and central funding to support these initiatives? Yes, it would. And perhaps we need more of that rather than funding in things like HS2 or stuff like that. But I firmly believe, just by looking at an event like this, which is in its second year, that is now Apple Day, is now part of the community calendar. People want to grow more apples and know about local growing, and they're doing it. It's from the community itself that we will get progress. The projects themselves are just kickstarters in the end, but we do need this enthusiasm of organisations like Broadford Strath Community Company that keep these things going.
We would hope that people are more aware of their buying choices, how consumption for all of us is it's overconsumption, and that we need to think more about what we buy, how we use it, how long we use it, do we repair it, and if we throw something away, where is away? Because really there is no away, something has to go somewhere. So we just hope that people are a bit more aware of the things that they are doing.